I recorded this video in April 2023, 2 years after the purchase of the Triumph Street RRR. It is not the first review I have made about this motorcycle. I already did a brief report about this model 4 months after I bought it, back in August 2021. I bought it in April of that year at the Triumph store in the ex-Madrid shopping center in Alcorcón. This store is relatively close to my house, and it was convenient for me to take it to the workshop to do oil changes and maintenance. When I bought it, it was available in 2 colors, black and gray, both with red and white details. Triumph calls them sapphire black and matte silver ice. I chose the gray color. What was I looking for? New sensations, something different from the comfort and tranquility that my other bike offers me, a Honda Rebel 500. I was looking for something more sporty, partly influenced by the bike my son Alex had at the time, a Triumph Street Triple S. He and I went to this store one day to test drive a Street RRR. I also made a video about this test. If it seemed to him a more powerful and faster motorcycle than he had, to me it was a scandal of an engine, speed, acceleration, maneuverability. I was automatically hooked on this model. The only drawback that I saw was the height of the seat, 83 centimeters from the ground, which allowed me to plant both feet, but not with the entire sole. I lacked a couple of centimeters to perfectly plant both feet. And then I discovered that Triumph had a low version of this model, with the seat 4 centimeters lower, just what I needed to completely plant both feet on the ground while stopped at a traffic light. This detail, together with the daring aesthetics of the motorcycle, its powerful 3-cylinder engine with almost 120 horsepower, the glorious sound of the exhaust pipe, the indisputable prestige of the British brand, and the excellent quality-price ratio of this model convinced me to buy it. Now, 2 years after it was purchased, and with just over 10,000 kilometers covered, I can say that it has never given me any problems, and that I am highly satisfied with the performance of this motorcycle. Driving it, or rather riding it, is a true enjoyment for the senses, something difficult to explain and that few motorcycles have transmitted to me. It is not a motorcycle for long trips, since the position adopted is sportive, more about speed and leaning in the corners than other motorcycles. Not surprisingly, this 3-cylinder engine is the one used, with logical modifications, in the Moto2 competition, in which Triumph supplies these 765 cm 3-cylinder engines. And the cycle part must correspond to an engine and gearbox with these characteristics. Although it does not have clip-on handlebars, the handlebars are not very high. The position of the seat, its inclination, the footrests, in general the geometry of the motorcycle, forces us to adopt a sporty posture associated with racing motorcycles. The seat is relatively hard, as are the suspensions, but it's not uncomfortable. It has 2 seats, although there is an accessory to change the small rear seat for a plastic tail that makes it even more sportier. Later, I will comment on the very few accessories that I have installed. My idea on this bike is not to change many things, but to make only the minimum necessary changes and additions, and preferably mount accessories sold by the original manufacturer. In fact, the money spent on accessories on this bike is much lower than that of the Honda Rebel 500. This bike does not lend itself to much customization, as is the case with a custom motorbike. I will now comment on the main technical characteristics of this model. As I already mentioned, its engine has 3 cylinders in line and a total displacement of 765 cubic centimeters. It has 4 valves per cylinder, or 12 valves in total. This wonderful engine develops 118 horsepower at 2000 revolutions in the version I have, although in the 2023 they have increased to 120 horsepower. This engine can go up to 14,000 revolutions per minute, but enters the red zone after 13,000. With a high compression ratio of 12.54 to 1, the 4-stroke engine has liquid cooling and multi-point sequential injection, with a maximum torque of 77 Newton meter at 9,400 revolutions per minute. Regarding the transmission, it has 6 gears. The first and second are short to favor acceleration. The following ones become progressively longer up to the 6th gear that is remarkably long. The clutch is soft and comes standard with a quick shifter system to change gears up and down without having to touch the clutch lever or slow down to change gears. This is another characteristic of sport bikes, which is very useful when you want to gain those tenths of a second. You can shift up and down without problems. The quick shifter works really well. Anyway, as I am used to do with other bikes, I tend to use the clutch lever, especially at the beginning when I start riding this bike. I must say that the clutch is pure butter. It offers a very smooth and precise touch. The dry weight of this motorcycle is 168 kilos, which means that it has a very good weight-power ratio. It is light, maneuverable, with agile reactions. It has electronic aids that tame it to control its sporty momentum, traction control, cornering ABS, 3 driving modes, road, rain, and sport. Actually, there is a 4th engine map called Rider, with which the user can define the settings he prefers. Through the menus, using the 2 buttons to the left of the digital screen, you can assign a map that the motorcycle brings to the rider map and then make the modifications that you deem appropriate. For example, the traction control and the ABS. I always drive it in sport mode, but with the traction control enabled. The instrument panel is quite complete, an analog and digital hybrid, which suffers from having very small digits. It has an analog tachometer and a programmable revving indicator using very striking blue LEDs, a digital speedometer, gear indicator, total and partial odometer, fuel level with reserve indicator, coolant thermometer, and others. On the left hand grip, there is an information button identified with the letter I. With this button, you can change the information displayed on the digital screen and find it useful to see the range. It indicates the kilometers left to go to the gas station and refuel, but it also shows the partial, total, and other ranges. If it is pressed for a few seconds, the odometer is reset to 0. Also on the left hand grip is a button marked with the letter M. I must say that navigating through the configuration menus is a bit of a hassle, and since changing configurations is not common, I have had to refer to the manual when I want to change or try a different configuration. I think the RS version, which has a single large full digital TFT screen, is quite a bit more intuitive. And it should be, because the 2023 version of the Street Triple R already has a single digital screen instead of a combination of digital and analog screen, as in my case. I don't dislike the combination of digital and analog display. It gives it a retro air, but they could have made the characters on the digital display a bit larger to improve visibility. Thanks to its electronic control unit, the motorcycle warns when it is time to take it to the workshop for a service or oil change through a message on screen. Regarding the range, it depends a lot on how the throttle grip is treated, which by the way is electronic, of the ride-by-wire type. I have managed to do more than 280 kilometers with a full tank, without using up the reserve. If you roll with more joy, consumption skyrockets. It usually goes around 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers. The tank capacity is 17.5 liters, quite large for this type of motorcycle, which is rather small. The front and rear wheels are 17 inches, 120/70 in front and 180/55 in the rear. Regarding the suspension, the front suspension has a 41mm inverted fork with a range of 115 millimeters, behind a single shock absorber with a range of 131 millimeters, both from Showa. Compression, extension, and preload can be regulated. This motorcycle has a double rocker arm at the rear. The brakes are very well made from Brembo. The two floating front brake discs with a diameter of 310 millimeters, the rear brake disc with a diameter of 220 millimeters. I can certify that the braking is of a superior level. The ABS is not too intrusive and works very well. I have even tried it when braking while turning a roundabout. They give a lot of security. The levers, both brake and clutch, are adjustable, although for my taste they are too long, but the feel is very good. The hoses are metallic, showing the high quality of the components of this motorcycle. The tires are Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3, very good grip, but for this they have to be soft, and it is already known that the duration will be less than usual. The exhaust pipe is short, discreet, with a good finish and gives a spectacular sound, despite complying with the Euro 5 pollution regulation. As for the lighting, it is full LED. The headlights with LED daytime running light illuminate the road wonderfully. An interesting detail of this motorcycle is in the ignition key lock. It has the typical start, stop and handlebar lock positions, but has an additional fourth position at the end of the left turn of the key after locking, which allows you to leave some lights on, in addition to locking the handlebars. It is what they call the parking position, indicated by a P for park. Care must be taken not to inadvertently leave the bike in this position for too long, since it can discharge the battery. In short, all these small details and the high quality of the finishes make this model an excellent value for the price paid. The quality of its components is first class. The right and left hand grip controls are easy to use and intuitive. I only miss an electronic turn signal canceller like the Triumph Triton has, for example. Accessories and improvements. There is little room for improvement on this bike, but Triumph offers a great configurator on their website, and there are certainly plenty of accessories available. Not exactly cheap though. When I bought the motorcycle, they offered me a great discount on accessories for the motorcycle or clothing to choose from. I took advantage of the offer and chose the keel that is placed under the engine, and a small tinted screen that looks great and gives it an even sportier air. Both accessories exceed €300 in total. The next thing I bought was some thick plastic stickers for the fuel tank. They are decorative, but the side ones serve as support for the knees. This bike is ridden with the knees pressed into the fuel tank. This helps a lot to maintain the correct position, with the butt resting on the back of the seat. This bike has a USB port under the seat. To access it, you have to remove the seat. For this reason, I made a modification that consists of an extension cable to take the USB connection to the handlebars of the motorcycle, a place closer to the mobile phone support or other device that needs to be powered, for example a video camera or GPS device. As I already have commented on some occasion, I do not like the rear view mirrors fixed to the middle of the handlebars. The Triumph mirrors reflect the image very well. They are large and of very good quality. So my idea was to keep these original mirrors but change their position. So I attached them to the ends of the handlebar. I used a couple of small Chinese mirror brackets I kept in my garage and was lucky that the little ball that attaches the mirror to the bracket was of the same size. So I could take advantage of these brackets and kept the original Triumph mirrors, but now attached to the ends of the handlebars. As the engine on this bike is a 3-cylinder engine and normally revs higher than a 2-cylinder engine due to the higher frequency of the vibration that the engine transmits to the chassis, there is no blurring in the mirrors, at least at legal speeds. When it was time for the first oil change and service, I took the opportunity to mount a couple more accessories, this time paying for them. I installed a useful engine and frame protector in case of a fall and some beautiful and aerodynamic grab bars for the passenger, since this bike has a very small rear seat and, as it is a sporty naked model, it does not have any backrest or lumbar support. So at least the passenger has a place to hold on during the journey. Finally, I mounted a wireless pressure gauge on the handlebars with its sensors on the wheel valves, the same one I have installed on the Honda Rebel. It is very practical and advisable to take a look at the tire pressure before going out to ride the motorcycle. This motorcycle does not lend itself to mounting saddlebags or suitcases. The only place available to carry tools and some other little things is under the seat. The passenger seat comes out easily and quickly by turning the key on the left side of the bike. I have a puncture repair kit there, a tiny foldable backpack, very practical for transporting something that comes in handy when you go on a trip. For example, if you buy a bottle of wine or cheese somewhere and want to take it home comfortably. Between the corners, I also carry a GPS locator from Mapit, like the one I have installed on Rebel. Very practical to locate the motorcycle at all times and record the routes, as well as remotely checking the kilometers traveled and the frequency of use of the motorcycle. Regarding the security, I also have a padlock clipper that is fixed to the front brake disc and an alarm that is triggered by vibration if someone touches or moves the motorcycle, with a remote control to activate and deactivate it that I carry on the keychain of the motorcycle. As usual, the motorcycle key ring has more keys: the fixing chain when parking it at home, the remote control, and others. I tried that the weight is not excessive, as it could damage the key lock of the motorcycle. But in this case, the keys are resting on the central area of the motorcycle handlebar, and the only thing that can happen is that this part suffers a scratch from the continuous rubbing of the keys placed on the key ring while driving. To avoid this, I have cut an elastic fabric strap from an old wristband that surrounds this part of the handlebar and protects it from possible scratches. I have also mounted on the left side of the handlebar a mobile phone holder and a RAM type holder with its corresponding ball to mount an action camera that I use to record videos on the routes with this motorcycle. In summary, I should say that this motorcycle is very efficient, reliable and fun, with the high quality components. The driving experience is addictive. It transmits very sporty sensations with impressive acceleration, very good braking, very smooth and fast gear changes thanks to the quick shifter. I've only driven 10,000 kilometers with it for 2 years, but I still love it like the first day. As a matter of fact, I use the Honda Rebel 500 more frequently, but I really enjoy changing from one bike to another. It is like changing from the comfort of a SUV to a sports car. But the Street Triple R is also good for getting around town. It's nimble and narrow, has a good turning radius, and you can control it perfectly with your feet firmly planted on the ground at traffic lights. As it happens with all motorcycles, it is essential to give it a good maintenance. Take care that the chain is always well oiled, and take it when it is time to change the oil, check all fluids and other maintenance tasks. It is a way to enjoy the motorcycle for many years. Well, this is it. I hope this brief review of the Triumph Street Triple R after 2 years of use has been helpful. Until next time, bye!